Welcome to the Long Range Pursuit Podcast, presented by Gunworks, where we learn about and share long-range shooting techniques, science, and gear. Carl, in this episode of Long Range Pursuit, which, by the way, thanks for participating one more with me, I want to talk about long-range hunting.
Yeah.
And I really have a hard time believing that there is an outfitter anywhere in the world that has as much experience and has been exposed to as much opportunity for success and failure as you and your team of professional hunters. So I want to talk about long-range hunting, big general picture. Then I want to talk specifically about, client success and how that can support and enhance, success. Kind of some boundaries that you've seen there. And then I want to kind of land at the end on how you think this is going to affect South Africa and the safari industry.
Yeah.
So kind of three main, big topics.
Yeah.
So, and I think we can kind of do this a little bit, with maybe a back to the beginning, like where we start.
Yeah.
And
I think, Aaron, the thing that in 14, 15 years, Krieger and Garrett came on that first safari, the initial, relationship builder of Gunworks. These guys, we knew Krieger and we got to know Garrett, and they were coming on safari. And I promise you, the fear of what you guys were bringing here was real. I mean, as a team, we sat down the day before you came and we were like, are we supposed to know this? Do we know this? And maybe one guy had experience of shooting more than 300, 350 yards. And it was sleepless nights. I'm not going to beat around the bush. And to try and relate to people what you have done with the technology and how much it has assisted us. I have something here that is in the pub here at Woodlands that I hope everybody can see and enjoy. And this is a spring gun. And this was used by farmers in the past for crop raiders, especially bush pigs in our part of the world here, where they would plant corn. Bush pigs would come in and they'd have a fishing line, a gut line, and it would trip the trigger, bang, shotgun shell goes off and smokes the pig. And so all farmers had them. They'd mount them on poles, as you can see, load a shotgun shell. The rest is history. We've got bacon in the morning. But that, in comparison to this, which is your baby, has become my girlfriend. The 7 LRM in this round, this is like candy to a kid for me. What I've been able to learn and what my team has been able to gain experience on has been on the back of this cartridge right here. What we have been able to achieve in our desire of how we want to hunt. And
So take that topic. Perfect. So you didn't know what to expect.
no,
How were you hunting a kudu bull before that?
yeah. And that's where I was coming to. What we considered in the past, a 350-yard shot as a very long shot, saw us taking so much risk due to time factors and various hunting scenarios that we were wounding animals. Let's not beat around the bush. Our wounding stats and losing stats have dropped to under 1% since we have gone with the Gunworks system. I will confidently say that to you.
So yeah, it's an easy story to tell. It's like if you can hunt at 500 or 600 yards, you can get the client more comfortable,
Correct.
more steady,
Yes.
more time. The animal is not
Way more relaxed,
pressured.
no adrenaline,
Yep.
and a follow-up shot is not a problem.
Yeah.
It's truly not a problem. But Aaron, not only that, if one considers the fact that, yes, it is capable of 1,000 yards out of the box. What is it now? 1,400 out of the box.
Yes.
Me, myself, and when we speak about long-range hunting, I am not a good enough shot to say to you, Aaron, I'm comfortable in also 800. Will I take a shot on a follow-up in the important scenario, last light, animals going over the ridge? Will I take it? Of course I will. Because
But think about that number though, compared to
over 100%. But I'm coming back to before. Before, we are guessing a holdover. And today, we are recovering those animals and making textbook perfect shots. And I say, you in yourself must understand what is your capable range. I don't think you can come here not having gone to one of your long-range schools. I don't think you can come here not having read or watched a little bit. The setups and the scenarios at play are very different. And what this has allowed you, the hunter, is to achieve a kind of success that was not dreamt about.
You have to, as a new person, I mean, you have Gunwerks systems here.
Yeah.
So a client can just book a hunt, jump on an airplane with a backpack, and show up and go hunt.
Yeah.
With a Gunwerks system ready to shoot 500, 600, 700 yards,
No problem.
depending on opportunity. The problem is, can he find an animal in the scope? Can he set up the gun to be steady?
Yeah. To
load the bipod correctly, to put the right kind of pressure in the rear bag, to break the trigger and follow through correctly.
Yeah.
And those kind of equipment handling things, which seem very, very basic, I feel like those cause...
It's a greater challenge than you realize.
Yeah.
It is. And not only that, Aaron, people do not arrive here and we do not allow them to go out to the range, have a couple of cracks at the gong and suddenly start going out to range. That's completely irresponsible.
Yep.
As hunters, we still have a responsibility. The fact that your technology is capable and able, it doesn't mean that that is what we are doing. What we are saying is if you are the seasoned guy and you've earned your stars and stripes and you want to achieve that, you can do it here. We've set up for it. We've grown in confidence. We've grown in our own experience to be able to offer that.
Yeah.
But I would say the majority of guys are still between 200 and 350. It's just that your rifles have turned a 250 to 350 into a 80 to 100. That is what it's done. And a 500, 600 is like the old traditional 300.
Yeah.
That is what it has done. And not only that, the rifles is one thing, and the reliability of them performing time and again is one thing, but the optics plays a major role. If I look at the original scopes, we had those Night Forces and our original guns, my gun and Ed's gun, the original 7LRMs, they have those Night Forces on. Today, with what these Rebics on these new guns that we are shooting now, 8 years down the road from those original ones, it is great.
The Night Force are great scopes, but what we're getting on the new scope, probably the most significant improvement is the first focal plane reticle.
100%.
And so if you think about somebody that maybe isn't, really experienced, when you need to tell them, hey, hold 4 minutes of wind or 3 minutes of wind, they can do that at any power. You don't have to double react.
You don't have to be at full. 100%.
And back to the other thing we talked about, one of the biggest challenges that newer people have is finding animals, especially here.
Yeah.
Everything looks so much different. It doesn't look like an elk on the hillside.
No.
Like, it's not the same. So finding that animal, our viewable area in that Rebic is 2 times that night. So your field of view is huge. And then if you combine that with the flexibility of shooting at lower magnifications and still being able to hold wind,
Exactly.
now you're able to control those situations.
And you're not complicating it for the novice.
Yeah.
And that's where, even to today, I tease you and say, please, don't worry about the details. I know gun will fire, it will work, But for the technical guys, the beauty of what we've learned and what you don't realize, and we've often sat back and said, Aaron doesn't know, Gunwerks doesn't know, they made us into better guides. And you go, but how? You've got the help of a guy that shoots further, but I'm going to stop you there and say to you, yes, we still got the job done on the old system, and we still get the job done today on the old system. But what did it do? We became wiser on our technology. We all have spotting scopes. When you first arrive here, I bet you a quarter of my team had scopes. What else? Not everybody had the best binos. Today, you go through my team, it's world class. It's the top of the top. Spotters, top of the top. Now, you combine that with a guy who has knowledge in the field and experience, he's making better decisions on what he's hunting, Aaron. He looks at a kurubu a whole lot different than I used to look at it 10 years ago. He looks at a bushbuck ram and says, because of my spotting scope, at full 500 yards, I can tell you that bushbuck's not old enough. I promise you, we couldn't do it back then.
I would say I feel like we're shooting, and this might just be my cycle, but we're shooting less and we're shooting way bigger.
Couldn't agree more. That is,
there was a lot of fun those first couple trips where you guys were having fun
We
learning
were learning.
all about long range and what was possible. There was a time there where you thought that it was magically dead no matter what.
Yeah, 100%. If it was downrange, over.
Screwed up if you realized I was just normal like everybody else.
And the nice thing is, Aaron, I think as a team, we've also matured in the long range thing where it's not about the long range.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's actually about what is the best, most responsible outcome here now. And that long range
It's just success on the right animal.
100%. 100%. And I will tell you, this season, I'm now at the end of May. I've done 5 or 6 hunts I've guided. Your shot on the kudu was nearly double further than my next longest shot. I've not had a shot over 500. In fact, my sweet spot is a 350 to 450 where the animal is very comfortable not knowing anything is going on. And if the hunter ever makes a mistake, there's always time to fix it, to clean it up.
I always felt like that like when I was raising my kids and there was a lot of new, right? That 500 yards was a sweet spot. It is where you have lots of time usually to get everybody set up, everybody comfortable, and it's just, and it's close enough.
And no mirage.
Yeah.
500 is not much mirage. It's a big deal for us when we're guiding. We battle with mirage. So we're trying to judge and we're looking for small details.
Yeah. So in general, long-range hunting, I always define it as when you have to start compensating for drop. So that to me starts at 300.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're talking hunting, generally I say most of that falls between 300 and 700.
Correct.
So depending on the animal, you know, like 700 yards on a small animal is a long shot.
It's very long. And it's probably not the right thing for everybody.
Yeah.
And we won't.
Yeah.
There is this perception out there, oh, you guys are just flinging irresponsibly. And I'm happy to have that conversation with anybody. In the beginning, I had these conversations with you. I said, you know, where are we on ethics and all this and all that? And I would say to you, how do you talk about this? How do we deal with this? I've come to learn as hunters, if we can responsibly sustain our wildlife, you determine, only you in the mirror, what is your ethical rank?
Yeah.
What is your ethical outcome?
This is a problem that a lot of people don't understand, where you try to take your decision, right, and your idea and your ethics and morals and try to impose it on somebody else.
Yeah.
So if I want to poke the bear, Can Blind hunts.
There you go.
This is a place where, like, I bet there's a lot of
and
differing opinions.
I'm in the group. I can't handle it. I don't debate it. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't believe it fits into, it's a kind of lion shoot. It's not a hunt. Those lions were bred in captivity. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and judge the man who did it 10, 20, 30 years ago, unaware of the true situation and scenario.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys
Didn't know.
What I am going to say, you're educated today. There's no reason why that should exist or that should take place.
Yeah.
I would say that. That has done us no favors.
You have a very strong opinion and reasons why.
Yeah.
But I think long range hunting stirs up a lot of similar emotions. Like a lot of people that don't believe that it should be done.
Oh, 100%. I get it.
Want people to make it harder. And I mean, I have, obviously I've lived in this long range hunting space
your whole life.
Yeah. That I find it kind of silly.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you said, where every person is responsible to set their limit. And I have some strong guidelines. Like, in my opinion, like, if you don't have an 85%, hit probability, like if you're not that confident in the shot, then you don't take the shot.
Don't.
Can you ever be 100% about any shot?
No, you can't. I don't care if it's out of a deer stand at 50 yards.
No, when
that's what happened.
Yeah. And it's not, the failure is not always the shooter, right? You've got wind, you've got equipment issues, you've got a lot of other things that you don't have control over. So I do feel like that hit probability needs to be very, very high your expectation of a good shot needs to be very, very high.
Yeah.
And the only way that you can have that is to shoot, to spend time, experience like that. And that's where the training comes in, right? And I think you'll see the guys that have gone through the training maybe have a little bit more realistic expectation about what they can do.
Without a doubt, we can see the difference. Without a doubt. I often say to you, I know the guys have been to the school.
Yeah, I really, because if you just watch the TV show, you think that 1,000-yard shot's really easy if you just buy the equipment.
Yeah.
If you come to the school, what will instill in you is a realization that a 750-yard shot with good conditions is a very, very long shot.
Absolutely.
And in bad conditions, never.
And I also think even in long range, in your growth as a gunner, in that period of your life where you start experiencing the long range, for me, 100%, it became first initially just figuring out the yardage and the wind. That was a big deal because we all know the best shots are made with the best wind calls.
Yep.
Technology is so good that the yardage else is pretty
mostly done.
But when Coriolis comes into it from 750 and beyond, that's a whole new ball game. And that's wonderful. You can graduate that interest to the next level. You can do that. And that's so much fun of this is what we've been able to learn from those experiences and what that's brought for us over a 14, 15-year period. Like you said, we've got the rifles here. I don't think when I started guiding, much emphasis was placed on any discussions with regards to rifles, calibers, passions. It was more to do guys who had that hobby, who were genuinely interested. Me, myself, Aaron will be the first to tell you, if you're listening to this, I'm not your guns guy. I'm the guy, I like results. I'm not going to talk ballistics all day. It's not what I do. But I am going to tell you all about the wildlife and the things that I look for. But in my team, I've got what I call my gun geeks. I mean, guys who live for it, who cannot stop talking about ballistics. So there's a match for everybody.
Do you remember like when we first started and all these guys were completely green and you and I were coming back with this story and this trophy and this success and this shot and some of them were a little skeptical, but as they watch, they're like,
the belief group,
we're in.
No.
And then all of a sudden like I've watched over the years, the first exposure was, okay, we would shoot, we held a couple minutes. And so you'd say, when you'd see a wind that was similar, you'd say a couple minutes without the distance factor or anything. Right. And then, about 4 or 5 years in, it started to get more sophisticated. And right now, like you guys are running the equipment, you're running wind meters, the guys are making a wind call correctly. Everybody's got a calculation tool that can get the right solution.
Yeah.
First focal plane scopes, everything. So,
and even double checking.
Yeah.
We're running a couple of solutions. Yeah. Are you agreeing with my data?
Yeah.
So I think that is also important in our growth. So for the guy who is a serious long range guy, who's technically astute and once he thrives in that environment, it's so nice that in our team, we've got those guys that will spend all day under those conditions.
There's more and more and more of them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ed and myself, I don't know.
No, I think you're about the middle point. Ed's on this side. You got Martin and Six on the other side. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So the team is pretty trained. So what would let's say we don't do a very good job of explaining how awesome the training opportunity here is for a person who is interested in long range shooting and developing skill sets and
to get trigger time, gun time.
Yeah. And you know that when the guy's down there at the range and he's shooting the steel at 700 yards.
You know you can't.
Yep. You're good, right? That's one thing.
Yeah.
You put that same person on an animal in clutch time with pressure, with wind, with everything happening,
very different.
With adrenaline.
Very different.
It's very different.
Very different.
And so let's go typical hunter out west. He puts in for a couple states. He draws 2 tags.
Yeah.
Maybe he's lucky enough to do 2 hunts in a fall.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say he's only successful half the time. That means he shoots all year at steel.
Yeah.
And then has one opportunity to shoot at an animal in the fall.
No, that's very true. And
how do you learn from that, right? Okay, well, I learned, I made a mistake. Okay, now let's practice all next year so I can have another opportunity the next year.
And your old cliche, 8 days in Africa, 8 years anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, because we have seen it time and again. And because of our unique situation, of our understanding of the long range and the setup requirement, as a team, we are able to navigate you through that. We are able to speak to you about what to expect. Before that hunt begins, we give you scenarios of a kudu. Today we're going to hunt areas with plateaus. You're probably going to be prone. Today we're going to hunt areas with the more savanna, like for kudu. You're probably going to have to be sitting. What are the signs? Probably going to stand off one of, I see you guys have got some wonderful new bipods I'm going to be trying out for the rest of the season. The new tripods. I'm going to be trying them out. And that's brought a whole new factor to me. I mean, I love it. The Bushwick guys, there you go. We're using the Gunwick system at 60 yards.
Yes, archer plate on the gun, clip it in on the head. It's very simple.
But very effective.
And a lot of the guys in the U.S. are getting more and more exposed.
We are seeing that. More guys are coming with their own, which is quite incredible, which was not there a while ago, because obviously we big stick guys, we need you to shoot off sticks. Well, you've just taken sticks to a whole new level, because sticks are now very solid and very secure. You're getting results.
I do think that the idea of having a team that knows how to kind of set up on a point, rather than take a hike straight at it, like that gives the shooter a little bit more time, affords you a little bit more opportunity to get set up and begin make sure things are perfect.
Absolutely.
Being able to have a guide that can program his Revic binos, big deal, to match your ballistics, so that when you're going to go dial up, you're not trying to go to a chart and find a number.
No.
You actually just dial the range and make the wind call.
And confirm for him.
Yeah.
It will take him a couple of times to trust the system if he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
But he'll soon figure out our data is lining up. I can trust the guy. We're good to go.
Yeah.
So we also see that growth in the team as well, where because of the technology and the success of that technology, guys go, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting how that grows over time. The belief has grown.
Yeah. So if you go back to that, goes right back to that, preparedness and confidence in your equipment really is the defining factor, I think, here.
Yeah.
The few times I've showed up and struggled with a gun, for various reasons.
Late preparation, don't do that.
Yeah, but that caused problems on
Absolutely.
where, like this one, the gun that I brought,
This is sweet.
Yep.
This is sweet. I mean, I shot it at the range with that new stock. Well, you call it the new chassis. I call it the new stock.
Yeah.
It is like, I got down and started ringing steel from the first second.
Yep.
This gun in particular, and I'm so excited because I'm ordered. That's what I like. I mean, they ain't for licensing, but
I think that for me, probably the most important thing to prepare for a hunt, if you do want to be prepared for precision shooting, right, is to have the confidence in your gun. I made sure I put 200 rounds for that gun. Actually, I didn't even do it. I let Derek shoot it. Derek sent it to the training guys, let them shoot it. It's like everybody wants trigger time.
Yeah.
So to give people, unlimited ammo to shoot a gun and to have it done. Yeah, it's like sometimes the guys like that. I was so busy I couldn't take the time. Yeah. But I wanted a couple hundred rounds through it. And then I started cold bore mapping, what happens the next day.
Yeah.
Where's that shot landing in the group, all that kind of little stuff. Getting confidence that moving the turrets back and forth will work. So that's a new gun, getting that confidence. Then if it's a gun that you have very high confidence in, it's like, make sure everything's good.
Yeah. And one of the things, Aaron, that we have found, that maybe you guys can talk about more and explain to folks is, I remember in the beginning, we had this absolute belief that these guns had to be so clean, the barrels had to be shining, you had to polish them and do the whole 9 yards. And one day you said to me, you do not touch that barrel until it misbehaves. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I had a complete wrong idea about this. And today, if I see a guy cleaning a barrel that is not misbehaving, I'm like, whoa, how many rounds have to go through that barrel to achieve that kind of precision? And I think guys do over clean. It's good to have a clean gun, but wow, have I learned.
My recommendation is like 40 to 60.
100%.
So most of the time you can go through a whole safari.
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes up to a third safari. Yeah. These guns are that good that we seldom are doing more than 10 to 15 rounds of safari.
Yeah.
So it's not I think the gun nuts shoot probably a little bit more steel than what they have to, but man, ringing steel is fun. So you like the sound down at the range there. It's always good camaraderie, always good fun.
Yeah.
But truly, I would say most guys renting are not They're not going through a box.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
So you have a new Garmin.
Yeah.
So when you go check a client, he can shoot, and you can make sure that the gun is
The
behaving.
data can quickly line up. Yeah. And that'll be good.
So guns available. You've made an investment here to buy a bunch of Gunworks rifles, which, thank you, I appreciate that.
We had no choice. That outperformed anything else we had.
Yeah. Yeah, and I could see that the competition is getting pretty fierce.
Yeah.
Because when the PH takes somebody out with one of those rifles,
The other guys,
everybody's happy. So you bought Nexus, you have a Magnus, you have a LR1000.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a handful of old school Gunworks here. But you have 10? Is it 10?
10. So we have one 6.5 Creedmoor for the kids, and you kindly set that up for kids, a bit shorter stock. Lovely, lovely, beautiful gun. It's our number one tech driver. My kids go to town on it. I'm sure the barrel will be shot out soon. Then we have two 7LRNs, which is our originals. They are our bankers. They've been so good to us.
Tell everybody how many rounds you put through the first barrel.
The first barrel's up in the pub, and we're going to share this with you. That's my gun's barrel, north of 5,000 rounds. And truth be told, it wasn't misbehaving badly. It was only beyond 750. And so I was doing a lot of culling, and I felt like it was time to change. I changed the suppressor. Once I changed that, it still wasn't behaving the way it was behaving in the past. And then I finally changed. So you guys luckily sorted us out very quickly, got a couple of barrels. And at the same time, Ed's barrel, about 3,500 to 4,000 rounds.
Yes.
The only reason we changed them, it was out of season, Ed's gun. I said, you know what, it's going to go.
How many animals since the beginning do you think you've seen killed with Gunworks rifles? Either yours in camp or clients that have come?
Sure. Aaron, I would have to say north of 3,000.
Because I've got to be close to 300.
Absolutely, but north of 3,000, I would say.
When you go culling and you have to shoot 1, 2, 3, like, yeah.
I mean, some days I cull 50, 60 myself with my system.
But if a client comes down here and you hunt really, really hard and you're very selective, you could put 8 to 10 animals in the salt, depending on how the luck goes. Because sometimes it's 4 or 5.
Yeah, 100%. It also depends on species and the style of hunting.
If there's some plains game, because you have the spirals, you can only hunt the morning, evening. And so if you have a little plains game opportunity to go, you can pick up another opportunity in the middle of the day.
I always say you can go as hard as you wish.
Yeah.
And that means, is it an animal and a half a day, species-wise, versus the guy who wants to collect 18 to 20 species? It is possible, but you got to choose right.
You have to work.
And you got to work very hard. You're going to be out first, back last.
Yeah.
That is something to consider.
We've only seen a handful of guys that were that driven.
Most of the time, it takes about 5 days for them to figure out, I want to come back. It's okay.
Yeah, you can't do it all at once.
No. And why? There's so much to look forward to again, second time. And then we've got the new 7 PRCs and we got 300 PRCs.
Yeah.
So I have not shot the 300 PRC. I have seen it being shot. It delivers results. I've seen it putting eland down like nothing I've ever seen before. Very similar to the old 338 days, the way it's got that knocking power.
If you're running the same weight bullet as those old 338s, 225s.
So looking forward to that. And then obviously we're such big believers in the work you've done with 7s, and me growing up always thought the 7 was light, but we soon realized the technology made a 7 so perfect.
You run that 180 grain bullet, it's quite it.
Yeah, so much. It's plenty.
Do you feel that the long range hunting? Do you feel that the client is potentially going to, on average, shoot a better trophy?
He's going to, on average, deliver a better result. And I'm going to steer clear of the word trophy. And the reason
that's
clear,
fine.
I want you to
understand.
I'm going to say the better result. hunting the better animal. Because I'm not.
I equate trophy with the right animal.
Yeah.
So I use those words interchangeably. I didn't mean score.
No,
that's
nothing. But it is, yes, 100%.
A better.
Yeah. If I have 5 opportunities, Aaron, your system will see me score. If I do everything right, that means I still have to stalk. It doesn't mean I'm throwing lead. I still have to do my part. Because often I can't judge due to various circumstances and factors at the range your gun might be able to deliver it. But with my technology and your technology and my experience and my team's experience, I make a better decision on the animal I want to harvest. Better for the herd, better for the area. Does the hunter do better? I'm not going to beat around the bush. They do. Of course they do.
Yeah.
They can take the opportunities. The law of average says he takes his opportunities twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he does. Yeah.
How about let's talk a little bit about training. Like what is the preparation that you think is the most important for a hunter to do? If, like, again, he's coming here to get experience, he's coming here to shoot wonderful, animals. What does he need to do to prepare the most on shooting side? I'm talking shooting.
Number one, the most looked over factor that is the greatest success contributor, a rear sandbag. It is underrated. It's not spoken about enough. And for some reason, I do not know why guys don't spend more time learning how to manage a rear sandbag. The best shots I've ever seen were made because of great wind calls and great sandbags. A loaded bipod is something that everybody knows today who's shooting your rifles or similar. But the sandbag and really learning how to work it is getting ready quickly and doing it.
Yeah. Understanding how that gun behaves under recoil and how important it is to control that recoil. It's
very huge. Very, because that drain,
I've made a lot of misses because of mismanagement of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the loading of bipods. I mean, you guys do a great job of explaining that, but maybe that's something to touch again, how important it is. I mean, I see a guy sitting back in a bipod, I get a cold sweat.
It's guaranteed to not shoot where you think it's going to.
Guaranteed. I've seen it time and again. It's just going high, and in Africa, let me tell you now, the biggest mistake you'll ever make is hit high.
Yeah. Do you think that there is value in preparing you for this trip in a little perfect shot preparation? Like being able to visualize where the vitals are, because some of these animals are so much different than our elk and mule deer.
Absolutely. I think apart from your equipment running well and you being accustomed to it or similar, or spending a full afternoon on the ranger and investing in 1 or 2 boxes of ammo to actually get yourself comfortable in where you want to be, understanding African anatomy is important. It's not that much different to the US. It's not a big deal. You will do well, placing shots behind the shoulder. But like I've explained in the past, in the US, how many predators do you guys have? Wolves, bears, coyotes, let's say 4 or 5. In Africa, north of 10. Our animals over time with evolution, their vitals have moved forward, and the shoulder blades, the scapulars, that is like the housing to protect. And so everything of ours and our desire for you, move that shot forward onto the shoulder.
Yeah.
Break the shoulder.
And a lot of the guys have watched our long range pursuit episodes. They shoot a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Right. And we've talked about it because you have this long vital area and spine up here and lungs and vitals and liver. So it's a wider, more effective, kill zone.
Yeah.
And so we've shown that a lot. We've taught it a lot. But here in Africa, you have to move that down a little bit because the spine is lower. It drops with just a little bit of withers over a lot of these animals, or you have to stay away from that.
And the biggest challenge is we've got wonderful trackers here, and we will track all day long. But when we run out of blood, it's not that we can't hold the spoor, the track of the animal. There are so many other tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, then we get confused, we get lost in it. So while there's a blood trail, our dogs are pretty good and they'll keep up. The problem is that animal that is just being shot high is going to give us a few drops of blood, and then he's going to go to the maze of tracks. And then we need so much luck to try and pull this off that we always say to the guys, if you're not sure you can place it at the top of the bottom third, but below halfway, rather.
Yeah.
There will be another opportunity.
That was a little adjustment for me. So
There will be another
I wanted to
opportunity.
bring that one up.
You know,
Anything else that that you need to kind of prepare for, like shooting wise, rear bag,
very important.
and
Anatomy is important. Anatomy is important. And then something else you add that I don't feel there's enough emphasis on, binoculars. You're never going to experience what I'm trying to share with you and truly grasp what I'm trying to educate you on if you can't see what I'm seeing. You don't have to bring a spotting scope. You can share mine.
I think that getting as binoculars have now evolved into laser rangefinder devices, like it's crazy to not have a combo device.
Yeah.
Now you've taken that complexity of getting the focus right for both eyes and made it even harder.
Correct.
So I think I would say binoculars, yes, but take the time to learn how to really focus the display and then the two images so that it gives you the best view experience.
It's very, very important. I see guys come to Africa, spend $25,000, $30,000 on a wonderful hunt, love every minute of it, with a pair of $180, $200 binoculars. And I truly say to you, and I plead with you, hunt one less animal with me, but bring great binos. Because if you see what I'm trying to share with you, you'll be back.
And I would prepare guys to have the discipline to stay in the glass.
Yes.
I see this. It's very, very tempting because you guys are so much better at spotting. It's very tempting to just sit back and let you find the animals. And I find the pressure to do that very high, to just relax.
Yeah.
Have the discipline that if your if your pH is in the glass, you're in the glass.
Yeah.
And you were teasing me the other day because I got busted for resting my eyes.
You weren't busted.
And I felt guilty about it because I do know that and there's times I've found animals. I've found the trophy that we killed, but it's 1 in 10.
But it's the one that mattered.
Yeah.
So it's a team.
It's a challenge for me to beat you to an animal. It is. I just take it as
more often than you. That's the only reason, dude.
Cool. Well, let's wrap up with just a little discussion about how you see the future of long range hunting and shooting in South Africa. Like how you see the other.
It is growing.
Other places, people, PHs.
It is growing. You know, in the beginning, we were a small minority, and we were, like I said to you in the beginning, you know, the morals and all this was discussed and debated, and I would get phone calls, and I was kind of a trailblazer on this because I just said, Aaron, tell me we're going to do this. It's not illegal, it's legal, it's new, and that's why people don't know what to expect. And we turned it into such a success story that the demand has grown immensely, where fellow professional hunters are calling us for advice. What do I do here? What do I do there? And we are no pros.
Buy in Gunworks. That's the advice. Let's start.
Well, no, buy the system.
Yeah.
More than the Gunworks. Yeah. The system is made for guys like us 15 years ago with that kind of experience delivering this today. And that's the difference, Aaron. So all in all, it has changed the game for us here. All of us have less time in our lives. Let's be honest about it. Time to get away with the boys. You've got family commitments, you've got business commitments, you've got real life commitments. All of us would like some kind of a result. The world is changing.
Yeah, and why wait 8 years to get that experience shooting, to develop your skills, to build the confidence when you can come here? And my capability and skill over the last decade is just, it's grown.
It's leapfrog.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And do we shoot as far as we used to?
No. That's the funny part. That it's not even a factor.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we placed emphasis on it because we were so amazed by it. Now that we know the capabilities of the system, it's really not a big deal. The big deal is find the right one and let's try and get home.
Well, I think you guys have realized that the most important thing is that the first shot's the right shot.
Absolutely.
It's better to make that first shot perfect than to be able to clean up, anything. So, well, I actually think it's going to grow quite a bit as well.
It will fly. I mean, I know with the guys in South Africa who's selling your rifles, I know the amount of phone calls we get for it. It's just the local market alone, let alone the professional market. It's increasing at a rate that is wonderful. So wonderful for you to have created a brand that people associate with and want to be a part of. So it's awesome. But speaking about that, what is new? What is coming our way? We've had such wonderful discussions in the car. Are you allowed to share?
Well, you see a lot of the new stuff. So I think the Nexus is new. It's pretty cool. We've been introducing you to the new PRC cartridges, so that's going pretty well.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see new stuff on the Revic side on optics.
Yes.
So we hunted this week with the Revic Radical.
Yes.
So that's a very new scope. We have a page up on our website, but we're not really marketing it yet because the production's so limited.
Yeah.
But I think it's very fun. It's shooter control of all the data.
Yeah.
So I think you're probably gonna see more of our customers come down with that. I really, really like the success of our binocular.
I've been impressed with that. I told you from the beginning, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And I first thought, is this a gimmick? I 100%, I told you that from day one. I said, Aaron, I'm going to be honest. You're going to like it. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to give you the brutal honest truth like I always do. And I'm now just over a year in. And
holy crap, your binos look like they've been out here for 5 years.
Please help me to work with it. But I've been so impressed that I'm a Swarovski guy. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I've always been. I'm a Swarovski snob. I love it.
Same.
My spotting scope, it's your spotting scope. I exchanged you many years ago, and I still use it today. But for me to put down my new Swarovskis and pick up yours and work with those rivers, it's feeling.
We've seen a lot of our customers the same way. They can afford anything. But we've seen them use that because the ballistics, the ranging, that side of it is definitely superior.
And I was worried about the durability. I said to you from the beginning, I'm not going to judge your glass in the first month, but I'm going to give you hell 2 years from now. So
Jerry, and we're seeing some rubber stuff and some sticky stuff. But and we'll improve those. But I'm going to invest a lot on the Revic side with that product line. I'm very excited about it.
I think it's got such a durable feel to it, and if you haven't used them, they're tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I put mine through the ringer, and you said to me in the beginning, go hard. And I mean, I'm going so hard that I'm nearly. So David, my tracker, he's got a pair of Leica 10x42s. I'm thinking of buying him one because he can actually help me with data.
Yeah.
David can actually help me with, if I'm thinking about getting him a set and doing the trading that you told me about the Safari.
Yeah.
That I can get David a set of the 10x40.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Be very cool.
So what else? Got some new rifle stuff. I think we're getting some pretty good momentum on rifle side product management. So I think we're going to see a better, more consistent release of new rifle things. So keep your eyes open for that.
And then he's not going to share another big project, but watch this space. Ed and I have the first 2 prototypes coming our way, but it's going to be very exciting, very interesting. Can't wait to see that project unfold. I know the folks watching and listening to this are going to want to know what it's about. We can't tell you, our lips are sealed, but Aaron is going to shake your world in something you can't imagine. So watch out for it. I've had 8 days in the truck discussing it, and we're on to something good. Looking forward to it, bud.
Cool.
As always, epic products, and can't wait for the next new thing.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. It's a good trip, and looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely, Matt. Awesome.
If you like what you're hearing here, please take a second and give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on iTunes or on your favorite podcast app. We appreciate your feedback and suggestions for topics you'd like discussed or questions you want answered on the podcast. You can reach out on Facebook or Instagram or send us an email to podcast@gunworks.com. Also, be sure and check out our full offering of long-range gear at gunworks.com. Use promo code LRP for free shipping on any order.